Dear Tosha, here's my current situation. I'm in a job that's not my passion or skill set. It has been a for now job, and it was enjoyable and the money was okay, but I honestly didn't feel great about myself doing it. But it was palatable. Anyway, now management changes have led to the work environment becoming very stressful and toxic. And I'm now dreading going to work. In some moments I say it's okay, this chapter's ending, a better one is beginning, hang in there. But after a night like tonight, I wonder if I'm keeping myself stuck there by not letting go and leaving and trusting that the divine will open the next door. So here's my question. How do you let go of the branch if the next branch isn't visible yet? Or how do you know when blind trust is actually required? Is there a way to know the difference between a situation where sucking it up for a bit is required as opposed to walking away and trusting? So, this is a great question. I think I've answered variations of it before, but it's like you kind of can't talk about it enough because I think it really comes out of like being in the human experience and experience offering. Here's what I think is every situation is different. You might remember, on the last call, if you're somebody that's not new to the forum, on the last call there was this really good letter from. It was basically about like being in a relationship where she keeps saying to the divine, "Show me what to do, show me what to do, show me what to do," and yet, as I was reading the letter, to me, it felt like she actually knew exactly what to do, and she was getting signs galore, and she was simply scared to take the action that she knew. And so to me, when that occurs, sometimes the very best prayer is to pray for the courage to do the right thing, to pray for the courage to do what your gut senses is right. Like that's what I felt in her letter. And it's easy to fall into that place of saying, I'm just waiting for the divine to make it clear. I'm just waiting, or I'm waiting for the next branch to come. But there are times, each situation is different. It's the beauty of offering. It's not a one size fits all. In some cases, you absolutely offer something over, and the message that you're getting from your own body is simply to wait. And the way you can tell is from that Sanskrit word, the spanda. The spanda is that inner leap. You can tell, like, let's use the example of your job. You offer it over completely, and you really have to do it completely. You don't just do it a tiny bit, but think of it as your job that you're kind of inviting the divine just to sort of help with. You're actually fully casting the burden of the job, and you're really saying, you are my source for all. You are my source for all. If I'm no longer meant to be here, and it's really time to go, take over my body and mind, show me the right actions at the right time, but particularly give me the courage. If I'm meant to cut loose from here, give me the courage to do it. And because every case is different, sometimes when you do that prayer, you feel this deep sense of excitement and urgency even to get out. And that's part of your answer. Signs are not always external. Sometimes they are, and you'll just see a billboard and it'll say, let go. Go for it. But just as often, you'll be able to tell by this sense of excitement or enthusiasm that's actually stronger than the fear of getting out. There's just this feeling, and I'll actually give you an example of this because I just did it. I'm going to do another book, I think in 2017 on offering, and I got an offer from a publishing house to, they wanted to buy the book. And they were offering a very decent amount of money to buy the book. But every part of me could just feel it just wasn't the right place. It just wasn't the right place. Now, somebody could say to you, what, were you crazy? You just turned around, you just turned down, a very decent offer in a very crazy economy. You don't have another offer yet. Are you nuts? But to be honest, this is how I do everything. I offered it to the divine, and I basically said, if you want this book to come out, and I sense you do, show me the right way to do it, the right place to do it, bring together all the right circumstances. And if you want, and I said this, when the offer was on the table from this one place, and I said, if this is the right place, then give me that feeling, give me that courage and enthusiasm to want to say yes, because all that I felt was sort of this sense of just deadness inside. Like I didn't feel, I wasn't feeling it. I used to have a friend, Donna, and she'd always say, I'm not feeling it. Like that was her answer for how you make a decision. And so it gave me the ability to say no, even though, there was this tiny part of my mind that's like, are you crazy? But the inner divine was so strong. It was like, no. So I think that's really how it works. Like I would sit with the job in your heart, offer it over completely, and say, if it's time to go, fill me with the courage and the conviction, the confidence to say no. If I'm meant to stay, then fill me with the patience to stay. Do you see what I mean? I mean, that's why offering, it's not one size fits all. It's not passivity. Sometimes, yes, it does mean waiting, but equally often it doesn't mean waiting. Like that was the thing with the soccer girl letter, is it was like, sometimes to me what happens is the universe makes things harsher and worse to get you to the place that you finally cut loose. Now, I'm not telling you what to do either. I'm not saying, you've got to quit. But I'm saying I've watched this again and again, that when somebody's in a dilemma and they're offering it, and then it suddenly gets much worse. Sometimes I think of it like, like for those of you that bake, we're like muffins in a little muffin pan. And when things get worse, it's like, the goddess is getting out her little spoon to get, the cooked muffin, the spatula to get you out of the pan. It's like, sometimes that's totally the sign to get out. You'll be able to feel it in your own body. And I actually think the timing of reading this is going to be interesting, because Mercury goes direct after the 8th, or if you want to, really give it a little bit of a few days after that of January. Notice what you're feeling once Mercury goes direct. Sometimes with a job, when you start to have that feeling like, if I'm going to go there another day, I'm going to lose my mind, and that feeling is truly offered to the divine, that can be your sign. So, and believe me, this thing about, you can't leave until the new branch comes, I understand that. That's very human, but in some ways it's very similar to, the people that say, I'm in a terrible relationship, but I'm not going to leave until I meet the new person. And I'm like, wow, that is so often not how divine order works. Sometimes it absolutely demands a leap of faith, but it doesn't mean you have to take the leap of faith from the ego. That's really different. It's not that whole thing of like, well, I should just be a real adult and suck it up. Those are all beliefs that were taught from the level of the ego. What I would really recommend doing with this job is offering it 100% to the divine in that genuine way then noticing the feelings that come up in your body. Maybe break a coconut about the job if you haven't done that yet. The directions are on the forum page. And then start to notice, what do you feel if you think about quitting? Notice if the feeling of enthusiasm and excitement is stronger than the feeling of fear. If that's the case, that alone can be your sign. On the other hand, if you think about quitting and you just get that feeling inside of like, it's not time yet, that can be equally valid. It's like you'll be able to feel it, but it comes from that place of the full offering. I can tell you, like with the book offer, I sat with it, and I really felt to myself the only reason I would say yes to this would be out of fear. And what I've learned in my life is that any decisions made from fear almost always come back and bite me in the butt. And this is the opposite of what I teach. So given that it's a book about offering, how crazy was that going to be to take an offer of a book on offering that I would only be saying yes to out of fear? It like put me into a perfect divine corner where I had to fully live what I teach, and since I don't really have any interest in living any other way than what I teach, it was very useful. So there you go. That was very apropos question for right now.